Hello and welcome to this mid-morning taste challenge. We have two espadin joven mezcals. They both use maguey espadin agave, and they are young, joven, unaged. This is Xicaru Silver, introduced in 2013. It is 40.5% alcohol, so a little bit unusual ABV. It is from a company called Xicaru. And I paid about $27.99. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was $27.99 at Total Wine and More. All right. Now, this is 400 Conejos, 400 bunny rabbits, and something to do with Aztec mythology. And it's 40%, so standard U.S. ABV. In Mexico, they run like 35 to 38. That wouldn't be allowed here. But anyway, introduced in 2015, 2 years later. This is their joven. They make, just like Xicaru, they make different varieties, okay? But I bought the joven for both. This was $27.99 at Total Wine and More, but I found it at Bethurns for $26.99, and they still have the same price, $26.99. Now, the label's peeling off. I don't know, for whatever reason, it wasn't glued down that well, and you can see the papers coming up, but I guess it's worth trying to fix it. Nah, it's too much. I could tape it before I try to glue it. Anyway, I think they're both going to be similar, so this one says slightly smoky. Xicaru says a slight hint of smoke. Now, I've noticed that. What does 400 Conejos say? I don't want to read about the Aztec mythologies. I would rather read about the description of the product. It just says stone pulled by a horse, wooden tub is the fermentation type, copper pot still, volcanic earth pit. So they're both similar in their production. Proximo Spirits is the importer under license from the trademark owner, Crista La Santa. So it's Crista La Santa is the company, but Proximo Spirits, Jose Cuervo, if you want to know the truth, they handle it for them. Okay. Wooden cap, same story, wooden cap, neoprene, that synthetic rubber stopper. They all seem to use synthetic rubber. I haven't seen one yet with a real cork. Just haven't. Should be enough. Hopefully. Make sure my tags are right. Wooden cap, neoprene stopper. A little bit off, but just a tiny bit. The other thing is in tight. All right, now if this isn't correct, it's going to stay incorrect, but it should be close. All right. Put the Xicaru over here. Now this will be the last of the, doesn't go in too tight. I'm a little worried about that. This is the last of the mezcals. I'm going to go double check, but I think I've covered them all. I don't think I skipped any. This will be the last of the mezcals until next year, maybe late this year. Because that's how long it's going to take me to get back to them. Herbie on Wheels Shubhayu says, hi, hello to you, Herbie, in India. Let's look at 400 Conejos, see what they say. Well balanced and smooth. Well, they're all well balanced and smooth except for Monte Alban, with soft hints of wood, sweet notes of cooked agave, and a pleasant smoky finish. So these seem very similar. Mild smoke, agave, moderate, mild, mellow, medium. So yeah, ooh, going to be tough. Now, keep in mind, every one of these companies claims that they're the best. So I've got like 10 different mezcals, and all of them claim that they're absolutely the most premium and the best. You use only the finest ingredients. So has that turned out to be true? Well, they're pretty even. Like I said, there's one outlier that doesn't hold up, and that's the Monte Alban. It's funny because they don't claim to be the best. In fact, they only say on the website, we make a mezcal. That's it. And you ask about it, and they'll say, we don't want to talk about it. I'm just joking. They probably don't say that, but it seems that way. And after you taste it, you'll understand why. All right. Yeah, same old story. Agave. If there's smoke, it's not in play. Not really. Little oak, yeah. Very, maybe it's more like pine because I think they are fermented in a pine vat. But the wood, wood, but it's everything's minimal, moderate, mild, mellow. A little smoke here. Must be the Conejos because it's got a little smoke. But when I say little, I mean the focus on the word little. Pleasant, mild note. So very similar, very similar. Now, right now, I have 4 wins, 2 losses, and a tie. 4, 2, and 1. The worst I could do is 4, 3, and 1, which would still be a winning record because the tie goes both ways. It's neither a win nor a loss. But I would like to finish 5, 2, and 1. I got the next mezcal ready to go in, like I say, next year or late this year. It's called Silencio. Got a deal on it. Well, yeah, it was like I don't know why it was that. It was like $24.99. I thought that was strange. It's kind of like a special they were running that. I don't remember where I bought it. I can just remember it was like a special, and they had 2 different bottles of. They were 2 different brands, and they were like the same price. So I bought this El Silencio because it was a prettier. I thought it was a better looking bottle. That's how I base my stuff on. That one's prettier, but it really is the truth. I'm pretty sure I covered everything. I just thought I had more mezcals than I've got. So that's the attempt right now. Finished 5 wins, 2 losses, and a tie. Joe Hill says, waiting on the Tigers-Mets doubleheader rained out the past 2 nights. Why don't they reschedule April games against warm weather teams? I'll never know. They had a lot of postponements in college baseball the last 2 nights, cancellations because all this terrible rain, and then it affected Major League Baseball, I noticed. I saw they were having 2 makeup games today. That gives it 6 games total today, 6 Major League games today. Took me over an hour to watch all the highlights this morning, the game recaps. Pretty good games. All right. Glad I'm not a Marlins fan. But actually, I do pull for them, but golly, 0-7. I want to go back down there and go to another game. I'm trying to get somebody to go with me. People don't want to go. People don't like to do much. People I know. And then they'll go on a cruise, but all they want to do is eat, drink, gamble. A guy I know just got back from a cruise. I said, what countries did you go to? I think Barbados, he thinks. And some other countries. It's like, man, you went to a foreign country and you think you were there? Your focus was not on the foreign countries, obviously. But I'm so meticulous about. I'm not criticizing him because he's probably interested in eating, drinking, and gambling. But no, I like the history, geography, and all that. So I wouldn't care. That's why I couldn't go on a cruise. They'd be driving me nuts. Be sitting on a ship, which I have no interest in the eating, drinking, and the gambling, especially the gambling. Okay, taste. Cheers. Yeah, there's smoke here. It's like charcoal more than smoke because the charred the charcoal that they roast the piñas on, the heart of the agave. And they have these conical ovens. They're like shaped like a cone. Some of them are underground ovens. You usually dig them in the ground. They look like they were open pits to me, though, without a sealant on it. But guess you could design it however you want. I don't think there's a regulation on the oven type. It's just a tradition or convention. You know, a way they tend to do it. It's like bourbon. You know, you could use rice in bourbon, but it's not a typical thing. Now I know somebody gonna run up to my. It has to be 51% corn. I didn't say it couldn't. I'm not talking about that. I said you could use rice in bourbon. That would be the other 49%. It could be up to 49% rice. Might be unusual to, might have an unusual flavor. Is there a bourbon out there made with rice? Oh, probably so. But that's typically not what's used. It's usually corn, wheat, if it's a high amount of wheat, or low amount. Rye, same thing, high or low in malted barley. So a blended whiskey, basically, like Canadian whiskey, but not the same exactly. What are your favorite ballparks? It's hard to say. Hard to say because Joe, I've been to every one. I've been to every major league ballpark. Been to games, not just toured it. Been to games, toured some too. Toronto, Baltimore, but I've been to games at every one. And some of the places I went are gone now, or no longer used for Major League Baseball. The Miami Marlins had the old. Remember the Florida Marlins, the Miami Dolphins Stadium, which changes names about every year. Went there about 3 times. I liked it. Wasn't really appropriate for baseball, but they had a way to shoehorn it in there. But of course, the new stadium is much better at the location of the old Orange Bowl. So that's very nice. Tropicana Field is nice, but it's peculiar. You know, it's not the best, but it's not like people say, like if you read reviews, they talk about how horrible it is. Like, come on, it's not horrible. It's just not optimum, but to say it's horrible, it's inaccurate. Now, if you got on a review site and talk about it was strange, it's unusual, unique, peculiar, yeah, it's all those things. But that's what makes it nice because you know you don't have to go to every major league ballpark. It doesn't all have to be red brick on the outfield with ivy and quirky angles. You know, was that a nice thing that they came up with in the mid 90s? It was fine, really early 90s with Orioles Park 92. It was fine, but then everybody started making the same thing, and then they were complaining about cookie cutter ballparks, and so then they made a bunch of cookie cutter ballparks in protest against cookie cutter ballparks. So, but they're all good. Toronto is very good. That's an old one, 35 years old. That was the first of the modern ones, really, the first of the modern. But I went to 2 games there, and I really enjoyed it. So favorite, man, I don't know if I could say. I really don't know if I can say. I don't know. I really don't know. I could just throw up a number. I could throw out a name, but it would just be throwing out a name. I'd have to. I don't think I could decide. And don't get me started. I'll talk all day on that. The one in St. Louis, Busch Stadium, they tore it down. The second Busch, I went to the second, and I've been to the current. The second Busch it needed to be torn down, but and the Shea Stadium needed to go away. But the new one is mighty fine. I went to the second Yankee Stadium, which is gone. I went to the current one many times, which is beautiful. some of the older parks like Fenway or Wrigley Field might not have the most comfortable seating compared to the new parks, but it is a trade-off for the experience and their historical significance. I agree with that. Wrigley Field is a pain, you know, you got to walk on this long zigzag labyrinth to go to the restroom. And it looked like the restrooms were put in there in 1914 and never changed. Talk about a peculiar thing. But when you walk through the tunnel, it's like walking in a basement of an office building, you know, or some facility. It's very antiquated, but they do a good job trying to keep it modernized. Same thing with Fenway. And yeah, they got bad seats where you'd be blocked and everything. But the ambiance and the historical feeling of it outweighs the badness. So those two would probably be the ones I want to go to the most. And I've been to them more than once, both of them more than once. But I got to say, the White Sox Park is very nice too, and that one is often overlooked because people don't like the South Side of Chicago because of their perception, which is somewhat accurate. And but it's an interesting place. I've been there more than any other park. Maybe the Astros as much. This one doesn't have the smoke. Now they said a hint of smoke in the finish. Well, I'm finishing it and I ain't tasting any smoke. Let's go again. No way. There's no smoke here. There's nothing to see here. I mean, except for sweetness and agave it's very sweet. It's almost like fruity, like a pomegranate or something, or a date. Isn't that strange? I don't remember tasting this all through this series. Let me go back to this on the left hand. I've been tasting this all through. That little hint of smoke. Predominant? No way. Pleasurable? Yes. Pleasant. Enjoyable. Well done. Any bad flaws? Nah. Any weird off flavors? Nah. Same thing over here. Nothing weird about it. Nothing off about it. So which one would I buy? I'd buy this one because I feel like it's got more. I'm feeling like it because I'm feeling the sensations of taste and aroma, basically. I think it's got more smokiness, which I prefer. Other people would gravitate toward the opposite one, but I'm thinking this is the Xicaru. But it's the Conejos. So I finished up with a shabby record. You see, 4 wins, 3 losses, 1 tie. Nothing to be proud of. And that's something that I picked up the smoke here. Now I wasn't getting it on the other one, but I tell you, I say this all the time. You take any liquor, I don't care what kind, it could be gin, could be rum, brandy. Take that liquor, you do a solo review. Just sit down, do a solo review. If you're too shy to get on camera, fine. I know people are like that. Take notes, write them down. Okay, give it a score. Now go back later, a couple of days later, and then put it in competition against rum number 1, number 2, number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 in competition. It'll taste different every time. Every time you do your baseline rum, it's going to taste different against different competition. Why is that? I think it must be because the competition brings out flavors or sensations or experiences that you didn't detect previously. What else could it be? So this is the Xicaru. Well, I'll be a Xicaru. I'm not ashamed. I mean, I say it's nothing. It's nothing to be ashamed of with this because they're so close. So 4 wins, 3 losses, and a tie. And if you counted the tie as a loss, I'd be at 4-4. But I can't count it as a loss because when you tie, it's not a loss. It's not a win. It's even. It's aggravating. But so yeah, 4-3-1. Barely a winning record and not anything to really, you just hope people don't go back and find out that you did that. But On the other hand, I could combat them and say, you do it. You get on here and do that. Let's see how good you are at these mezcals. You think they're so easy? Go ahead, you do it. And I really would challenge people on that because I don't think it's easy. I know it's not easy. Is mezcal the most difficult taste challenge series to do? For what I have in my collection, yeah. I mean, you know, everybody could have different products. And I can't comment on products I've never tasted, right? How could I? Rye is tough. Rye is tough, but I can kind of get them right. Kind of get them right. Bourbon is another tough one. It's tough, but you can kind of pick up some differences with bourbon. American blended whiskey can be hell, you know, that can be hell. But they have such peculiar flavors, outlandish flavors in some cases, that you can kind of latch on to these quirky things like Heaven Hills blended whiskeys tasting like honeydew melon. And you say, well, that's not right. Something's wrong here. But that doesn't matter because you can use that wrongness to get the taste challenges correct. It's not cheating. It's just using a clue and latching on to it. Canadian whiskey can be really tough. But they also have these little idiosyncratic flavors that you can kind of latch onto and use to your advantage. Brandy is another rough one, but same thing, little idiosyncratic flavors. Rum, yeah, same. They're all kind of like that. You can latch onto some little peculiarity. I shouldn't go to rum. I should say Irish whiskey. Those are tough. Now they are pretty similar. Scotch is it's pretty doable because they have their own unique flavors. Generally, blended Scotch, same blended single malt doesn't matter because if you do a series, they kind of have a little unique. They have unique attributes, one brand to the other. The rum, the brandy, the rum, the tequila is not as difficult as the mezcal, but it can be difficult. Okay, so that's the whole story there. All right, what did you think of Old Tiger Stadium? I never went to a game there. I saw it when it was still like most was not demolished yet. So I drove by there back 20-something years ago, 25 years ago. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was 25 years ago. And it was still standing, but it was abandoned because they had built a new stadium or were about to open the new stadium. So it was a relic, and then they demolished it. So I think I would have liked it, but I didn't get to go. I didn't get to go to the old Comiskey Park. Big mistake on my part. You know, that was my first game, just a kid then with my old man. Got to see Trammell and Whitaker. Fell in love with the game. Trammell and Whitaker. Yeah. What's his name? Gene Trammell? I remember Tiger Stadium. Okay. Because in Louisiana, there's Tiger Stadium for the Louisiana State University football team. So every time they would show Tiger Stadium, I would be like, Tiger Stadium, isn't that in Baton Rouge? I didn't realize there was one in Detroit. Never got to go to the, what they call County Stadium in Milwaukee. Went to the new Milwaukee Miller Park, it was called, for a long time when Miller Beer was sponsoring it. Great park, great. And they had, for the longest time, they had a special for $1. You can get in for $1. Now, I'm sure it's gone now. It's probably $5 deal, but it was for years. Like the first time I went there in 2002, and then like years later, it was still $1 in 2013. You say, well, $1, they're not making any money off $1. I know, but their reasoning was, okay, this is a slow night. They're playing a rotten team that's not going to bring any, Florida Marlins are not going to bring anybody. Maybe 200 fans. The stadium fits over 40,000 people. We're going to sell what? They project, they're pretty accurate. We're going to get 20,000 at the game. Now we got 20,000 empty seats. Well, those empty seats will not buy any concessions. Okay, an empty seat will not buy a concession. But let's say we let people in for $1, and a husband, a wife, and 3 children go. So they get in for $5. We're going to make hundreds of dollars off that because they're going to pay to park, not realizing that there's a little free area to park. But I know about. But anyway, I found out we did that like 3 times, a little secret spot. But anyway, but I won't get into that. But anyway, so you're going to pay to park. I have paid to park there too, by the way, but it was, it wasn't expensive. Then go to the White Sox, you better take out a loan to go park there. But although I know where to park for free for that too. Although your car very likely won't be there when you get back. But then the children are going to be begging for all kind of food, and then they're going to want souvenirs, worthless dolls and stuffed animals that they're going to play with for 5 minutes and never look at again. And then the wife is going to say, "Oh, I would love a Michelob Ultra." So that's $9, $10. And later she'll say, "I would like another one." So that's 18. And then you're going to drink your whatever, Miller Lite, whatever you're drinking. And then they're going to all want hot dogs, which they're going to take 2 bites and waste. And popcorn, which they'll eat a few and then waste that. And then they want a trinket or something. So then it makes sense to let the people in for $1 because you're going to make 100. Or let's say you make $100 off. Let's be conservative. You make $100 off the $5. See, but if you didn't offer the deal, you say, "I don't know, they're paying $40, so they ain't going. Screw them. Well, they'll stay home. They'll do something else." So now the seat does not buy a concession. That empty seat, those 5 empty seats don't buy concessions. But the 5 filled seats with the 3 begging kids, and the man got a Visa Gold card, that will buy the stuff. So yeah. And then they want a cheesecake. Now the cheesecake looks good. Now I'm not gonna lie, they have a cheesecake little kiosk there, and it looks good, but it's a piece of cheesecake not worth no $9. But that's for the basic one. So yeah, it's very good ballpark. Man, tough luck. Got it wrong. Tough luck. But you got to live with it. All right. Well, do I think I'll do better with the rye whiskey? I think I'll do better coming up next week. Rye whiskey. Do I think I'll do better? I think I will do better. I got Templeton rye, and that's a controversial product. You say Templeton, people start firing up. They get fired up, ready to be angry. And I'm not part of that because I didn't pay for it, and B, it was a gift. And C, my friend who got it for like $15. It's a $49.90. I look on Total Wine and More. It's $49.95. $49.95 for Templeton rye. I looked at that yesterday. 2 days ago. $49.95. Now my friend David went to, I'm not going to name the store. I don't want to bring in trouble on these people. But he got it for $15. And he was asking me on the phone, "You think $15 is a good deal for Templeton rye?" I said, "I know about that product. Not much. I know something about it, but it's controversial." I said, "But for $15, that's a steal." He said, "You should come buy some. You should come buy." I said, "Man, you know how much rye and bourbon I have? I cannot do it." So then he was smart. He bought it. He bought his own bottle for $15. Then he bought me one for $15 and gave it for a Christmas gift. Hey, that's a good idea because now I get to do it. Yeah, that's going to be coming in. I guess Templeton will do okay. Might be a little bit more than just okay in its success rate. So yeah, and then we're on to bourbon. And what bourbon is coming up? Well, I have to go with the Evan Williams 1783 warehouse pick from 2023. I have to do it because a guy I know named Sean, he bought it for himself actually. And then he said, "Do I want a bottle?" I said, "I never dreamed they could sell it for $9. He said, I have to go by Walmart. I have to go to Walmart later today. I'll pick you up a bottle. So I gave him the $10 right off the top. I said, here, $10. You know, it was $9.90, but keep the dime. So I'm talking about after tax. But then the next day he said, guess what? It was all sold out. I said, well, keep the bottle. I'll give me the $10 back. I don't need it. I wasn't even looking for the product until later. He said, nah, I ain't worried about it. I got too much stuff anyway, and I'll let you have it. I was like, I don't know. I feel funny about that. No. He said, no. So he brought it in my neighborhood and gave me the bottle. I mean, I paid him for it, but you know, he brought it because he was on the street doing something. So I said, oh. But then I put it on my shelf and I was like, I'll get to it. You know me, I got so much backstock. And then he asked me 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago, he said, what did you think about the Evan Williams 1783? The warehouse pick. I said, I didn't try it. I said, but you know what? You did me good, because you could have just ignored me. I said, and I'm gonna do it. That's gonna be the next bourbon I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do the Evan Williams 1783 small batch warehouse pick. They picked from 2 warehouses. It's a special, 4th of July Independence Day program with veterans, current and retired. Some of the people are still in the military that picked it. I said, okay, so I'm going to do that. And it's going to be about later in April. But I told him, I said, it's coming. He said, I understand. So when somebody does that for me, I gotta make the effort, right? So I think it's going to just blow up. I think it's going to be a great product. And you can say what you want about Evan Williams, like, oh, it's no good or whatever. But all right, go ahead and say that. You're wrong. But anyway, that's cool. But anyway, we'll see. All right, we will see. And we're going to see. It's going to be really good. All right, y'all take care. Bye-bye.